Today I will be showing you the Kitchener stitch graft in Stockinette. The Kitchener stitch graft is used to graft live stitches to each other and to make an invisible seam. To begin this seam, first off we need to make sure we have the same number of stitches on each needle. And then we place the wrong sides facing each other. So I have a needle with the knit stitches facing me and a needle with the purl stitches facing me behind it. The steps for this Kitchener graft, the way I work them, is same, off, opposite, on. And when I say same, I mean what is the stitch presenting to me, and the same would be to, so this is a knit stitch, the same would be to insert the needle as if to knit. The opposite would be insert the needle as if to purl for this stitch because it is a knit. Back here, the same would be to insert the needle as if to purl because it's a purl stitch. Oops, it's tight like that. The opposite would be to insert the needle as if to knit because it is purl stitch. So to begin, we work the on steps as a setup on the first stitch on each needle. And it doesn't matter which needle you begin with, either one is fine. I'm going to start on the front, but you could just as easily start on the back. So we work the on steps, and the on steps is opposite on. So the stitch here is a knit, the opposite of it is a purl. So I pull my tapestry needle through as if to purl, and I leave it on the needle. Then I do the same step back here, opposite on. This is a purl. I will insert my tapestry needle as if to knit and pull it through and leave it on. So our setup is complete. Now we can begin working both steps on each needle. I ended on the back needle, I move to the front needle. Now I work same, off, opposite, on. Same, this is a knit, I knit this and take it off. Before I pull my yarn through, I work the next step, opposite, on. It is a knit, so I purl and leave on the needle. Be sure to keep your tapestry needle and your working thread underneath the knitting needles so that you don't get accidental yarn overs and confuse yourself. Okay, so same, off, opposite, on. It's a purl, I will purl it off, and opposite, I will knit and leave on. Work loosely so you can tighten this up to make it the same tension as the surrounding fabric. Afterwards, it's easier to fix the tension afterwards than to loosen tight tension afterwards. So work loosely and then you can tighten it. So same, off, opposite, on. Same, off, purl, opposite, on. I'll do one more. Oops. Same, off, opposite, on. And you proceed across the row until you get to one stitch left on each needle. So I will work across and come back when I have one stitch on each needle. So I've worked across, I have one stitch left on each needle. I ended on the back needle. So now, just like the setup where we only worked one set of the steps, to finish we only work the off step for the last two stitches. So same, off, and oops, don't lose that stitch in the back. Same, off, the front that I lost right there, and then same, off for the back needle. So now this is loose. That's okay. We can tighten it up and get the seam to be the same tension as the surrounding fabric. So I just do that by working across. I started in the middle. You can start at one end instead, and I tighten stitch by stitch across. So I will do that and return when I have everything tightened up. So I tightened my graft up all the way across, and there you can see it's at the same tension as the surrounding fabric. If it had been worked in the yellow yarn, it would be invisible on the wrong side and the right side. Using this graft, you end up with fabric offset by a half of a stitch because you are lining up to live edges. So the way knitted fabric works, that you automatically end up with a half a stitch jog. So if you can see here, there's half of a stitch there before a whole stitch begins on the other side. And in Stockinette, that is invisible, but in other patterns that need to line up, it can be slightly visible. That is just a function of this kind of graft. But the nice thing with the same off, opposite on, is that you can work that in any seam where the grafted seam needs to look the same as the fabric above and below. So yes, that's the Kitchener stitch seam in Stockinette. Thanks for watching.